So I'm going to show you 7 steps or 7 stages of like a driver journey in your trucking company. This is like the most important step or a principle or a framework that you will ever learn or find out about. I don't think I've found out this thing anywhere else. Nobody even talks about it. And it's something that we've observed over time, and we really broke it down to like literally like a science. And I'm going to share that with you now. So for your fleet, like imagine we want to talk about like retention and then also engagement. Like you want to keep your drivers, your current drivers in your fleet and attract more. And then you also want to have people that don't know about you bring and join that force. So we're going to talk about all that journey now. So the first place where the start is, I call it awareness. Next will be engagement. And then the other one is subscribe. And then advocate. And then promote. Any driver that you bring into your fleet or into your world, they have to go to this step if you want to master retention and you want to master to grow your trucking business. Okay, these are the steps to go through. There's no other way. There's possibly no other avenue, if you ask me. Now I want to start with awareness. This is the space where the drivers that exist in your market, like let's say if you're a fleet who's in Midwest and you're based in Chicago, and you run in, let's say like the Midwest, there are drivers that don't know that you exist. That's where the awareness comes in. So you have to make them, what are you doing exactly to make them aware that we exist and this is what we do, whether it's dry van, open deck, flatbed, reefer, whatever it may be. That's where they first begin. They get to know about you, that you exist, you're in Chicago, and that's what you run. Okay? So the first thing is knowing about your trucking business or your fleet. Okay? The second place that they move into is the engagement. Once they know about you, are they in some way engaging with you, right? Like whether it could be your social media, whether it could be your banners that they see on the highway, whatever it may be, how they're engaging and actually like interacting with your trucking business ideas, the things that you're putting out and all that kind of stuff. So that's a big one. So I put some examples down. Basically imagine here something that gets them talking to you. You know, like let's say if I give you a practical example, if you put a post of, hey, hauling this heavy load from Chicago to Milwaukee today, who all would like to pull this Pete, right? And then they're like, yeah, me, right? So they're engaging in some way. And there's 10 different ways you can have them engage. I'm just pulling out one. Once they're engaging and stuff like that, the next thing that they move up in the ladder is subscribe. I use the word subscribe because engaging is a one-way kind of communication. You're talking like one to many almost. Subscribe is when they really get on your email list or they're talking more with you. This is a higher level of this guy, and you can see that too, right? But we've broken it down. It is a big transformation because a driver may know about your trucking company, then they talk a little bit about your trucking company, they're engaging with you, but then they're actually subscribing to your channels, right? Like they're on your email list, they're on your SMS list, they're on your phone list, so automatically you're making more contact with them. So how are you making more contact? You're more frequent interaction. You know, They have to move through these in order to get to this place. And I'll show you all that as well. Once they get to this point, next thing is, how can you move them into this place where they get hired in your trucking business? You know, you're moving them through steps here. How can you make them hire your business? Whether that's like you're talking to them here, like, hey John, and I'll give you practical, actionable tips in the upcoming modules, how you can do this like literally for your trucking business, like actionable tips, not just theory here. But how can you hire them and move them from subscribe to an employee? That's the next place where they stand. So they start working for you basically. Cool. Now, once they're hired, and you already know if you're somewhat like, if you're running some kind of operation, you have a couple trucks, you have a couple drivers going, you already know, you already have drivers. But is each one of them excited that they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to work, and this is what I want to do, and I can't wait to pull that load, or can't wait to like go to Southeast or Florida, whatever this run may be, right? So you want to have them excited. So are you giving them, it could be, are you giving them bonuses to get them excited? Like, you know, your quarterly bonuses, safety bonuses, whatever it may be, right? Are you giving them small gifts? You know, like a gift card here and there that you give. Fleets do that all the time. It's not ordinary. And if you don't know about it, then this is your time to pick up on it. Bigger fleets or medium to large fleets will do that all the time. $25 pilot gift card or whatever it may be. So like simple examples like that. What are you doing them to keep them excited? And it doesn't have to be always like everything monetary value. It could be like getting their truck clean when they come back from a run and they're like, oh man, these people are so awesome, right? Getting their truck parked and vacuumed and cleaned, put in some place. Drivers don't like that actually, to screw around with their truck much, but like screw it around in a good way. So it takes a lot of work off their plate. Let's say they're excited. Then they move into the spot, which is advocate. This is a spot where it's like, if I was to send somebody from my team and be like, hey, we want to record a video of a driver, how they feel about your trucking business, and they were walking in the yard, let's say they just parked a truck and they were walking into the office to hand some kind of paperwork. And we were to catch them on camera, like right there, like, hey, what do you think about working at ABC Trucking Company? All they had was good things to say about you. That's where you would say advocate. You know, like whether it's like a safety meeting that you're having and they saying like, yeah, ABC Fleet did this, and John, my boss, like our dispatcher, like load planner, he makes sure like we're safe, or do this or do that, whatever it may be, but they're advocating about your fleet. Okay, but it's not as open, but it's like when somebody asks, they say good things. It's not something they go out of the way and they're like, hey man, this is an awesome fleet. And I've broken these steps down very, very carefully, and it does happen. When I say and mention these things, it does happen. There's truckers that we talk to in fleets who don't even want to be on camera. They're like, nah, I just suck. It just sucks. I just hate it, and I just made a bad decision. This is literally the words that I hear from truckers. And you know what? It's fine if they exist there and whatnot, but you want to have them like advocating for you. That would be like your perfect driver. So they're basically talking good, giving testimonials, let's say. Once they're past that point, this is like the ultimate point you want to lead every driver to. This is where you're going to start making a real change. You're going to see a drastic change in the culture, in the company, your retention rate, and all that kind of stuff. And also how your current drivers work in the company. To give you a perfect example, this guy, when you move him into promote, each next level feeds off from the lower level. They're happy here, so they move here. They're happy here, they move here. They're happy here, they move here. They will move up the ladder as this part gets so overvalued, okay? When you're talking about promote, imagine like if you were, at a coffee shop or something, and there was you had another friend and you were talking about a car, right? Like imagine you were talking about Tesla, and all of a sudden you guys are in debate of like Tesla and Toyota, and then you will fight that argument to say that how Tesla is amazing and that guy should be buying Tesla. So that's the level of like promotion. You're like an active promoter of like Tesla in that moment. That's where you want to lead all your drivers to. Okay, so they're basically fighting almost. They're getting into arguments with people like, no, you need to be in my trucking company because they do so much good and it's so best. You just don't even know about it, buddy. Like you need to be here. I'm telling you, you need to be here. Give it a shot. So they're actually your promoter now. You know, like they go to truck stop or they talk to their friends or somebody that they talk to. They're just saying good shit about you. Good stuff about you, sorry. And let me tell you something. Everything that you do to get a driver in order to retain and keep him or her for a long period of time falls under this. Everything falls under this. This is the journey of their entire relationship with you. And let me tell you something even higher level to this. So when you have I call them fans or promoters. If you have 500 true fans or promoters which are here, you will never go out of business. You will never be at a bad spot. That's like the minimum threshold you should set for yourself. If you're a trucking fleet who wants to grow, you need to have 500 true promoter drivers in your fleet. Absolutely must. If you're a fleet of like 1,000 trucks, you need to have, you want to set this as 1,000. Every single person in your trucking fleet should be a true promoter or fan. That's when you can get to that extreme level of like retention and also like that trucking fleet that everybody's envious of. Like nobody can break you, no wage or anything can like replace that driver, pull it away. Because here's the stat, 98%, and this is online, this is not something I made up. There is 98% driver turnover rate in America, in US. So if you're hiring 100 drivers, 98 of them are going to leave in that same year and you're replacing them. That's terrible. That's like a revolving door. You basically have a new guy in the truck every other day. Like that's how bad it is. So the lower this number will go, the better it is, and you know that full well. But how to get there is by taking them. Your current employees are probably like somewhere here. Like your current drivers are like somewhere here. Most of them. Let's say 70% of them. Or let's say 50, 40% of them. Some may be like right here. And then there's like maybe 5, very small percentage, maybe like not even 1%, probably like 0.5% are like here. When I say this, trust me, I've got it dialed. This is from very, very high experience. So this is not something I came up with yesterday. So there's a very small percentage that actually lays here, and you want to have like almost all your drivers, a very high percentage, like you should be in like 90% of your fleet right here, like all your drivers in this area. If you can attain that level, you're set. Like there won't be any retention issues, there won't be any there may be circumstances where the driver is moving to another state because their child has to go to university or something, because there could be life-changing experiences and they have to move and they have to like go to another place. And That's totally separate, but they were loyal to you and they'll try to make everything work. So you want to get to this point, and in upcoming modules, I'm going to show you what you do here, 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 and what you do in all the quadrants. So I'm going to go that step by step. You have to build 500 true fans army. That's the minimum threshold you should be on. If you're like, well, we just want to be at 100 trucks, then make sure all those 100 drivers are your true fans. It can be lower than that. Now, a very high principle that lays on top of it, and a lot of trucking companies that I talk to, they're like, well, we want to build, the first thing is like, well, we need drivers. So this is where their issue lays in, right here. And then once they get over this part, then they're like, well, Amrit, we have a retention issue, everything sucks, and what can we do? And maybe our branding isn't strong and stuff like that. Your branding will automatically get strong once you get in this area right here. So you don't have to worry about like the logo and stuff like that. If you're doing everything right, it will automatically come with you. It is a part of the process. It's not something that you have to do something here. It eventually travels with you all the way up here. Now the other thing is, in this process, you're basically building a culture and a cult. That's why culture has the word cult in it, right? Imagine if I was to give you an example, like Apple and Android users, right? Like it's like Windows and in Mac users, it's like two different extremes. So you want to make your fleet as like one extreme, where it's like everybody's like one extreme, like, hey, ABC fleet is the place to be, and then everything around is just not something that we would ever do. You have to make that polarization effect in your trucking business, and we're going to talk about that in upcoming modules. So I'll see you in the next one.